Hi, I'm Lisa Wetzel, and I channel information from the Akashic Records. And here we are in December. And I don't know how you guys feel, but boy, November was a kicker. The energy was pretty intense, and so now we're moving into the December energy. And I kept getting a message that something big was going to happen on December the 12th. So I thought that I would ask the records and share their message with you guys. So here we go. And they're saying, what we want you to understand is that December the 12th is going to be a big day in the transition of consciousness. And what we want you to understand is that humanity is allowing itself to gain a perspective that hasn't been presented before. And what we want you to understand is that as there is a portal that's opening up, on December the 12th, you'll begin to recognize how individuals will be more susceptible to the energy of love and compassion. What we want you to understand is the significance of the 12th, 12, is the idea and the understanding of compassion. As humans begin to move forward, we will allow them to understand how to love one another in ways that they haven't in the past. And what we want you to see is that there will be a great upheaval that will be in transition from approximately the 10th to the 16th. And what we want you to understand is that this will be a time that humans will be shaken so that they can begin to understand the capacity of compassion that they can withstand. And this will be an ongoing process. What we want you to understand is that at this particular time, there'll be many transitions that happen upon the earth. There'll be many different shapes, wave forms, and intricacies that will be taking place that the human mind will not be fully aware of. But what we want you to understand is that the most simple, caring conversation may be had, and the human may not be able to recognize how significant this particular conversation may be. And what we want you to know is that on the most simplistic nature, humans are shifting. And what we want you to understand is that you are as well. There is no human that is walking upon the earth that is immune to this particular energy. So what we want you to see is that in the most simple nature of a conversation that you may have with another may create a shift or a change in your way of thinking that will allow you to be more compassionate. And what we want you to understand is that it may be of a simple exchange, or it may be more complex. But what we want you to know is to be aware of what's transitioning. Again, you are not the only one that's being affected. You will find that others will begin to see things differently as well. We also want you to understand is that at the end of December, you'll be able to see and to recognize that this was the end of a huge energetic shift that occurred in 2024. Although this was an ongoing shift, there was a specific form of energy that was emitted into the earth at this particular time. That specific transition will be ending. December 31st, you'll begin to recognize that there will be a lighter feeling in your body and in your step. And so what we want you to understand is that as you begin to move into January, you'll find things will be lighter. They will not be as heavy and as burdensome as what seems to have been taking place in the year 2024. We want you to understand that as humans begin to transition into living in their actions, you'll begin to see how the experience of 2024 helped to shift consciousness, allow individuals to shed old ways and become the new. We want you to understand that this transition is concluding in this month of December. We want you to be prepared for allowing yourself to become more whole and complete as you begin to move forward into the future. As you begin to recognize that there are new ways and new ways of thinking, you'll begin to understand how to implement these processes and how to navigate through relationships and experiences. This will begin to shift the consciousness in a way that individuals will become more aware of how humans are changing their actions. We want you to understand that this transition will take place for the next 12 months through the year of 2025. We want you to allow yourself to be free of the notion that you have not changed, and that what is coming forward to you is of a notion to be hesitant. We want you to understand how to step both feet into the water and be secure in knowing that all is well. As you begin to move forward and the 1212 portal begins to absorb who you are, you'll begin to recognize how you are feeling more comfortable in it being the more simplistic of the simplistic nature. And this is meant for you at this particular time. We want you to know that you are all on track and no one is failing. As you begin to move forward, you'll begin to see that your heart is opening in ways that you haven't recognized before, and this is for purpose and meaning. So what I want to share, what I'm seeing is that the 1212 portal, how I'm seeing it is that it's a big black portal. And that the portal is either being brought down to the earth in encompassing each and every one of us, or else we're going to be lifted up into that portal energy. But what I'm recognizing and what I'm seeing is that this portal is extremely important for each one of us to find the love that resides within us. And it's going to have a powerful impact on each and every human. And although it's hard to see on the surface, what they're saying, what we want you to do is to recognize how to look within each one of your own selves. And so even though you may not recognize it in the person that's across the table from you, recognize it from what's within you. Recognize your own heart. Recognize how you're becoming more compassionate and understanding, recognizing how you have more of a tendency to want to love and embrace others and not push them away and fight. Basically what I'm seeing is somebody like pushing somebody away and then just like, I'm not talking about it, I'm not dealing with it, whatever. I'm not dealing with you. But instead, being able to open your arms and embrace them and being able to understand or see their perspective and understanding where they're coming from, as well as being able to understand yourself at a deeper level. And this is what is, like they're saying, the icing on the cake. It's the final step to what has been happening through 2024, which I don't know about how you guys feel, but boy, there's been a whole lot of stuff that's been happening in this year. Lots of energy. And, it was starting back in March where it was almost palpable. You could feel the energy coming in with all the solar flares and the way that it was affecting us physically. And that's going to start settling down just a little bit. And everything that we've been through on that cellular level and the emotional level is being cleared out. And now what I'm seeing is something like when you take your car through a garage or a car wash, and those great big brushes are spinning and going over your car and cleaning all the dirt off. That's basically what we've been going through. We're going through the car wash for humans, and those big brushes have been clearing off the stuff that we don't need anymore. And what I'm hearing is them saying is that, this has been a challenging time for many individuals and they're not fully recognizing how they're transitioning. But what we want you to understand is that it's all for the good. So as we've gone through these struggles and these tough times, emotionally and physically over the past year, we're going into this time in December where the big portal is the final blower that's blowing off all the water that's left on the car, and it's drying us off. And then when you imagine yourself leaving that car wash, your car is completely clean and all put back together again. And so what we want you to understand is that this is the scenario that every human being is going through. We want you to understand that it's happening on different levels and different levels of understanding as it is meant to be what the human can transform. So if you find yourself becoming a little bit more compassionate and caring for someone else, and you're allowing some old hurts and pains to be released, and you're not going to fall in those patterns anymore, you may see that shift in the change in yourself. But when you're looking across the table, you might not see it as clearly as in the person that's sitting across from you as you can see for yourself. And they're saying, don't despair. It doesn't mean that it's not happening. And what we want you to understand is that every human being on the earth is going through this transition. So we're all changing. And what we see in another person may not be the final outcome. And what we even see in ourselves isn't going to be the final outcome. So as the 1212 portal opens up and throws another whammy on us, it's more or less that last big hurrah that we're going to go through in 2020. And it's going to be the final cleaning. And it's going to be the final removing of, they're saying, of the toxic energy that's been emitted upon the earth. Now, with that being said, some people may move faster than others. And again, those individuals that haven't completed their mission or completed their tasks, they may end up going through some more things at the beginning of 2025 to help to clear them. But those of us that have allowed some things to let go, it's almost like opening the gate to run the race. We're going to find that, boy, it sure is a nice living today without so much hatred, so much anxiety, so much pain, so much sorrow. Kind of like this feeling. And so when we start really integrating it and recognizing how to act in that and how it really makes us feel a certain way, and it's a lot less effort, we're going to figure out that it's more comfortable for us staying in that way of living than the old ways. Now, once again, this is going in waves, and individuals, I call them the first wavers, the first wave of individuals that are going through this, they're going to find it easier to transition. And there's going to be people that are following this first wave that may need our help. And so they may be a little bit further down the path, and it may take them a little bit longer to get to where the first wave of people are. But there's what I'm hearing is be patient and recognize that the shift is coming. It is each individual's journey to where they are and where they're going, and they're going to have to experience some things that need to happen in order to shift their way of thinking, just like it did with us. So we're not all going to move at the same time. There's a group that's going to move first, and then there's going to be a second wave and a third wave, and it's going to continue on. They're saying, but what we want you to recognize is that we're in control. And what we want you to understand is that there's much more that's happening and that's transitioning on the earthly level than what the mind can understand. So recognize how to live intuitively. Recognize how to live from your heart. Recognize that you know more than what your mind allows you to know. And what we want you to understand is to continue the path. Continue the journey, and you'll begin to recognize how easy life can be in the days to come from what they have been. So I hope that this makes sense to everybody, and I'm actually looking forward to January. I know that things may get worse on the surface, before they get better for a lot of people. But what our job is to focus on ourselves and find that truest essence of who we are so that we can continue to move forward on our journey. And what I keep hearing is powers in numbers. And the more of us that can stand in this truth of who we are, the more that will join us. And then it'll become a bigger energy field that's emanating through all of us into the others. And they're saying, and this is your path and the mission. As of today, recognize that you can take a deep breath and allow all to unfold as needed. So thank you. Thanks for listening. And thank you to all my guides for sharing this message. And I wish every one of you the most happy December. And we'll chat again in January.